California battles wildfires as Santa Ana winds whip through the southern part of the state. We have updates as San Diego struggles through another weekend of wind and the debate over planned SDG&E power outages that have already happened. This is Politically Speaking.
From NBC 7 News, this is Politically Speaking with Alex Precier.
Welcome to this week's show. We're going to get you an update on the California wildfire situation. There's also a new I-Team piece on a well-known charitable group that was pulled off a multi-million-dollar county plan to house victims of sex trafficking. The big question there is why? But first, as many of you have been following this CA50 district race, it's a seat currently held by embattled Congressman Duncan Hunter. In the 2018 Cook Voter Index, this district was plus Republican at plus 11 Republican. Now, one of the party's safest congressional strongholds, Hunter's upcoming trial, puts that into question, and so now there are a host of Republican challengers that are household names that are entering that race, and with me is one of those, Carl DeMaio. Carl, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me on.
So, Carl, I want to back up because, I mean, you've been in for a minute, but why did you decide to run in this district this term?
Well, two reasons. First, as you mentioned, Congressman Duncan Hunter faces serious criminal allegations, and the polling shows that he would lose this seat. The last Republican seat in San Diego County would be lost and taken over by a Democrat socialist who's pretty extreme on the issues. So first we have to save the seat, but more importantly, I'm sick and tired of seeing...
I will say Amar would battle you on the labeling of as a socialist, but...
Well, he supports the Green New Deal. That's a fact. That is his... signature platform. He supports the Green New Deal, which frankly is as close to socialism as you're going to get a proposal in today's political environment. But second of all, more importantly than saving this seat from going to a Democrat, we need to make sure that we have someone who can lead the fight in California. So many Californians are fleeing the state. They can't afford to live here anymore. They can't stomach living here anymore. They see the homeless. They see criminals being coddled. And they want to see someone step forward and be the voice for forgotten Californians. And that's really why I really believe that the fight for California starts by fighting to save the 50th Congressional District and then taking that message statewide.
The last time we met, I believe it was at the CA50 Forum, and that was a night where the Republican Party of San Diego, they gave endorsements for most of the races within the county, but not that particular race. Were you disappointed in them not having an official endorsement?
Well, the party has a pretty high standard of a two-thirds supermajority vote when there are multiple Republicans running. Here you have a sitting incumbent Congressman Duncan Hunter who represents a 40-year family dynasty in that seat. You have a former Congressman, Darrell Issa, 18 years in Washington, a sitting state senator, Brian Jones, and then you have me, a citizen activist that just got off the
former
charge.
City council member.
Yeah, but most recently the charge to repeal the gas tax. And so you had, I think, the party take a step back and say, well, let's not make a decision because you have to get to a two-thirds vote. I was pleased to get the support of the most delegates to the committee, but at the end of the day, I think what they're looking to is the primary. Yeah. But it's so important that we unite Republicans because I fear that what the Democrats are going to try to do is drag Mr. Hunter across the finish line in March so they can face him as a convicted, likely convicted member of Congress, or maybe he won't even be running.
Democrats would be voting
to try, potentially, to try to pick off this seat through manipulation. That's why I'm trying to unite independents as well as Republicans to support my candidacy of fighting to not only save this congressional seat, but to take back California from socialism. You're seeing the highest taxes in the country, the highest gas prices. You see criminals being coddled. You see homeless skyrocketing on our streets. Literally, the people who are paying the bills and abiding by the laws are the people who are being treated the poorest in our state. And that's why so many tens of thousands are fleeing each and every week to other states. We have to take back our state.
Is affordability the #1 issue in that district?
I think affordability and livability. When you have people coming across the border because we won't secure our nation's borders, when you have people getting welfare at a record level, when you have people being taught in school social agendas rather than the basics, when you have needle exchange areas where you can do drugs but asking for a plastic straw somehow is against the law. All of these things are about the concept of, is California even livable anymore? Can people tolerate living in a state where our personal freedoms are under assault, where our safety is always at risk, where the government programs are not meeting the needs, whether it's the roads, the congestion, the schools? All of these things add up to people being dissatisfied with the direction of the state of California, and they want leadership. They want someone to fight for the issues that they are concerned about, or they'll leave the state, and I don't want to see more good Californians leave.
What's interesting is, I mean, I'm sure that if we were to have this discussion with the current Congressman Duncan Hunter, embattled or not, I mean, he would paint a different picture as to the situation of folks in District 50. It seems as though...
You mean he would think that the taxes are
not
too high?
Taxes, not necessarily. He'd probably agree with you on taxes, and he'd probably agree with you on a lot of issues about border security,
right,
and this, that, and the other. But in terms of what he believes that he's been able to accomplish over the last 7 or 6 terms in office, I'm sure he would try to tout his resume.
What have these Republican incumbent elected officials actually been able to get done? Seriously. I call them seat warmers. They get into a seat, and in this case, 40 years of the Hunter family, with Darrell Issa, 18 years. They get into a seat, and what do they really do? They may talk a good game, but they're not actually taking action, and that's what I'm known for, is going out, taking the battle into the streets, and fighting for Californians. And that's what I think we need in California at this phase, where we see socialism taking on so many factors in the state.
Mr. Carl DeMaio, thank you for the time, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right. Coming up after the break, I sat down with NBC News' political director, Chuck Todd. He has his eye on California, especially with the early primary. What does he think will be the signature voting issue here? Probably not what you think.